Welcome to Founders Marketing Compass. My name is Etgar Shpivak. With my experience as a marketer and as a co-founder of a startup, I'm interviewing founders and their investors to learn how to build healthy, lasting relationships between startup founders and their marketing team. Today, I'm with Dr. Maya Huber, co-founder and CEO of TaTiO. Hi, Maya.
Edgar, great to be here.
Thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a long time since we saw one each other on
Oh my God, so
Techstars, I
long.
think, in 2020, 4 years ago. You did a crazy, hell of a ride journey since then.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm still on a hell of a ride, but I'm enjoying every minute.
Happy if you can tell me and the audience a bit more about yourself and about your journey.
I come from recruiting myself. I spent 15 years in recruiting. Also, as I said, as you said, all the PhD. My expertise is the future of work and job analysis. TaTiO is a virtual job simulation platform. We enable recruiting teams to have a more engaging and qualified hiring process using virtual job simulation. I will talk about it a bit more, but at a high level, I will say we have a technology that enables us to simulate every job without writing code, enable candidates to try out jobs before even applying, measure candidates based on their skills and match them to the best job. And the idea is to enable organizations to have a more skill-based database and decision-making process, and for job seekers to have a better understanding of the job to support a better decision-making for both sides. TaTiO is 5 years old, a bit more. We operate in the US market and lately also in Europe. And recently we came back to Israel as well. So I'm excited about that. We did all the round of moving out of Israel, but now going back, and I'm excited about that as well. That's pretty much it.
So we will dive in as we're talking about these relationships between co-founders, and I really like mainly co-founders who don't come from marketing, and to see the way that they do manage their marketing team. And the first question would be, how do you define your marketing team KPI?
I really appreciate marketing, and I knew I will need a marketing team soon in the process. So I think this is one of the maybe not the first 5, but of course for the 10 people we hired at the beginning. One of the reasons for that is the market, specifically in the HR tech and the workforce technology. When you try to reach out to candidates and get the attention on this crowded space, I was convinced that I need a unique marketing team that will work with. And setting up KPIs actually is something super crucial because it took time for me to understand how to set KPIs. At the beginning, it was generating more leads. It took us a while, and I'm talking about a while and at least one bad hire to understand that we need to define what is a qualified. And one of the mistakes I've done back then is when we started, it was the hype of HR. Post-COVID, everybody were looking for a solution to find employees, and we were in that hype. And we came out with the approach of HR rebels. I thought I perceived myself as a rebel, as a founder, as an HR rebel, coming for HR. And the marketing team and I thought that everybody are like me. All our audience are. And we came out with a full campaign, really cool, about being an HR rebel and changing the way we look for people, go beyond resume stuff. And the only thing, and we received those hundreds of leads on a monthly basis. It took us a while, more than a while, and a lot of money to understand that those leads were not qualified. Those are people cheering for a great idea and for great advertising. So clicking or click bites is what we received, and not qualified lead. So if we'll move further, working recently with people that were more goals oriented, the way we set KPIs was all the funnel, from top of the funnel lead, then qualified lead, then all the lead gen process, making sure that marketing and sales are working together. And we'll talk about it for a while, I assume, working together on those 2 KPIs to make sure they're aligned and that we reach the target that is at the end closing more business.
So if I will ask for today, and like you said, you started with only leads, when you're measuring your marketing team today with your knowledge, what do you look from them? What do you say this is your North Star?
The main KPIs is qualified meeting, not a qualified lead. And by saying qualified meeting, I mean, of course, relevant lead that's set with a list of descriptions that we have about a specific persona with a specific audience. I request them to make sure that they're in our industries, in our locations, that the persona we meet is relevant. So the company can be relevant, but if the person I meet is not senior, this is not a qualified meeting. So we have a meeting qualification, they need to set with all terms, and then the person needs to show up.
This is a very common problem that people don't talk about enough.
And sometimes it looks very easy, specifically with the US market. They will tell you, yeah, I'm up to the meeting. I will be there. I want, they will click on the lead on the email and they will set the time and they will never show up. Sometimes it's because of it's for reasons of, they're not interested, but sometimes they do not show. I need to nurture this lead. So for me, qualified meeting of people showing up, that's the main KPI. I think the toughest thing to do is to, first of all, to identify what is qualified and to be really specific, but not to exaggerate. So yes, talk about the specific persona and about, the company and have the relevant industry or something, but sometimes also, to keep it in a way, because we did have those clients that came over for a specific product and they received for a specific position maybe or request, and we found a way to expand that. So identifying what is a qualified meeting was hard, but once we've done that, I can tell you, you will probably agree with it. Having KPIs reduce a lot of stress from the tension between sales and marketing. And I learned from great people to write everything. I'm a messy founder, creative. I'm doing, let me push mountains and we'll do it. Don't let me write an article. But I wrote everything to the point, not leaving any doubt, like teaching a 6-year-old child how to read. That's how we describe up to today we do it. And I want to tell you one more thing. Recently, we are working more through resellers and being so specific on goals and KPIs with my marketing team help us work with their marketing team. So it's not just around internal, just not about internal team, but also communicating the way you work to your partner.
I definitely agree with you, and I would love if you can expand, because this tension, this built-in tension that's happening in startups that are growing between the sales team to the marketing team is something that in one end, everyone's saying, all the founders and the board say, we know that we have the problem. We know that we have to write down everything and to make sure everything is aligned. But when you talk with them behind the scenes, not in the big stage, in the conference, when you talk with them, in 90% of the time, everyone will point out the finger to the other one. The sales will say, no, the marketing, they give me MQL, but they're not giving me SQL. And the marketing will say, the sales team, they don't know how to convert our amazing MQL. And it's still happening. And I love that you say by writing it down to details, if you can give, specific action items, for example, what did you write? How did you build it? Because it sounds something small, but I have seen that this gap, this misalignment between those two teams can kill companies because they won't grow without even spending a dime on media investment, just by having a very clear communication. If you can give us example, what do you write? It doesn't have to be specifically with your ICP or with your process. But if you can drill down on this, because I see you very, very detailed oriented.
I turned to be. I must tell you, I turned to be. I was not. And I had those two experiences. One with a sales and marketing team killing each other every day. Small company trying to grow and clashes all day of blaming each other.
I can tell you that I'm seeing this also happening in unicorns. So you can feel good with yourself. And by the way, bigger the company is, the
I
bigger the
assume.
problem is.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I did have a different experience with sales and marketing working together amazingly. In fact, I sent my team, sales and marketing team together to conferences without me. Just the tooling persona from a team handling conferences together alone. So I do have the perspective of doing wrong and doing it right. Things I think in terms of identifying things for me, and that's what made the difference. First of all, it's identified together. It's not me as a founder or the head of HR or head of sales crafting a script, or I don't know, a scope of work, what should be done, and then set it over. We had meetings over meetings of discussing it and finalize it to the word. And what I had in mind, I'm a visual person. And I think it could be really easy to explain it through how you write prompt today with the AI. I want all of us to imagine the same persona. If I would need to draw it right now, that we will draw it the same. And I was visual. I was giving examples that are visual as possible to understand who is the person, where is he located, how is he taught, his point of view. What are their interests? And we were doing deep dives, and it was hard work for at least 3 months of going through a few of their LinkedIn, finalize what they're interested in, what they're wearing, okay? What do they eat for lunch? What sport are they practicing? Because every word and every tone of voice matters when you sell. And I learned it the hard way. I want to remind you, as a researcher, I thought I'm doing an amazing market research. I had amazing questions. I read the book of the MOM test. Familiar with that? I read it.
I think
How
it's
not
one
to.
of the best books for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So I read it. I thought I'm not doing it. I absolutely did it. It took me a while and a lot of money that were lost and a lot of tears and frustration to understand I'm doing it wrong. So when I did it again, I did it doing alone. I must thank you to there are great people worked with me doing that. So I'm not sure if you will mention that, but Adir from Rainmakers is leading the sales project enable team to build sales and marketing agenda. And Shiri Catalan was my head of marketing. We all worked together. It was tough. It was yelling in the office until we all understood who is the person we target, and then everything made sense because the sales understood why the marketing approached that way, why we chose to do account-based marketing and not just cold reach out, and also to understand how to build the script for lead gen or to do cold calling reach out, which we did a lot. Another thing I want to tell you regarding writing things again that I learned is that wrote everything until today. There's a demo script and there's a cold code script. And there's a script that you are running on conferences. Exactly what I want them to say. I don't want them to use the same language and to ask the same question. When you do that, and it is a hard work, but it pays off. The amount of topics to argue about and to fight when you're in with sales and marketing reduce, and you have them. I created a team. They were one unit. There was no competition between them. They were one HR enabler because they knew that none of the KPIs will be achieved without them working together. A long answer, but
No, I think this is perfect, and I think that many founders can take and start sending as an action item. Start making your head of sales and your head of marketing talk. Let's start with this. Force them to talk with each other, and we talk a lot about what happened internally and trying to go a bit into the bigger vision, because as a founder, in one hand, you have discussions with your board, with your investors, and you go and you sell them this very big vision. And then you go to your marketing team when the meeting is over and you're talking with them about qualified leads, about qualified meetings. And how do you balance this very long term to make sure that also your internal stakeholders will understand this very long vision? This is what we want to do. But in the other hand, you have to give me 100 qualified meetings by next month. What do you do for this? How do you make this balance internally?
So That's a great question. I think when I look back, and to be honest, I don't think I planned it, but it was, I think, on my mind as a founder to hold both agendas. We were working in waves. So when we were focusing on list building, that's what we did, and I pushed the team to do that. They were focusing mainly on that. But those projects, they are over. You start, they kick off, they give you the volume, and then closely it's running to the over to the sales team, and you just need to to adjust or to track numbers. Once those projects were down, we were investing a lot on a high level, or I'm not sure if an high level, but a different approach that is the marketing of the overall agenda of the company, but also a lot about me. The idea behind it was I'm a domain expert, and we understood that this is a value in our industry. In the HR tech space, not a lot of founders come from HR, which is surprising. We understood that this is something we need to push on, to put up front. So we took days where we were taking videos of myself, or I was working with my team they were hearing my thoughts, professional thoughts overall about the market, about issues that are about to rise. I was talking to them. They collected everything, and then every week they have an assignment to do on post one, write an article. So over the time we had a lot of content ready, and we shared it parallel to any lead gen process that we've done. But we highly invested in this. For me, it was my way to promote brand awareness for the industry, but also to the VCs and my current investor to have the trust in me, not just when you are doing lead gen, specifically when lead gen not always works.
And and we talk about works or not, so it takes us to the next question. Is about how do you that you're coming from this PhD within your professional landscape, but you're not a marketing expert, or you didn't wear a marketing expert.
No.
And how do you and
I
how
know
do
how
you
to buy.
and how do you measure the effectiveness of your marketing? How do you know we got this 200 great meeting this quarter, this qualified meetings? Is this effective? Isn't it? How do you come and you measure this from your own perspective?
So first of all, I wish that when I started, I had a conversation with you asking me to measure. Because at the beginning, specifically when you start, I'm a first timer. You're so in love and excited, and I raised money, I had money, I hired a team. I thought that this is, it's easy. I didn't track it, and I failed. When you fail, and you fail a lot when you have a startup, you fail daily, if not sometimes
When you fail hourly.
hourly. That's what I say. You do not know the reason if you do not track it. And that's okay to fail. You need to fail. I cannot tell you now, if back then on the beginning, if I failed because of a bad marketing, because of a bad product, because of a bad timing, you do not know. And sometimes, even if you measure, you do not know, but that makes it harder. On the last year, again, working with great people, I started measure performance. And I think to your point, sometimes you do not generate enough leads, but your marketing is doing great. And the way to measure that is, I felt it and I saw it not just on my pipeline, but through conferences and conversation with the industry. People kept telling me, "Wow, Maya, everywhere." And we are, a small, tiny Israeli company running in the US. Maya, everywhere. With your marketing team, we got feedback on every conversation about the positive feedback or the positive reputation that we have. I remember a conversation with a prospect telling me he owned like a marketplace, so he knew a lot of our clients. He told me, "Listen, I know that we have a lot of mutual clients, and we do not even one." And of course, they didn't tell him. From his perception, I'm everywhere, and all his clients are using me. And for me, this is great marketing. So, of course, it's a combination of testing things, but sometimes when the results are down, it doesn't mean that your marketing team is doing a bad job.
I love it. And what is the one mistake that founders commonly make when working with their marketing team? I know you mentioned here so many, but if you want to look for others or for other founders that you know, because I have seen personally that many founders, like you said, struggle with managing this operation, which is really complex, and they never done it before?
I will say the first thing is timing. When to have a marketing team. I think you had a marketing team, or maybe not a marketing team, the marketing persona that you need. I thought that the first thing I need to do is to bring an experienced C-level marketing person. And it was a mistake, because what I needed back then is a person that will take his hand to the dust and dig with me. And that C-level person wasn't his way, and it's fine. So I think the understanding of what type of persona and when, and be careful with their, I think it's right for every position, but with marketing specifically. What exactly do you need? Do you need market awareness right now or not? Or we first need to understand if there is any market. Go ahead, sorry.
I think that what is really interesting within this question that I constantly ask my guest here is that I'm getting those two opposites approach, which is really interesting. One, get this guy or women that will work his hands on and will do everything and craft the landing pages and will run the campaign. And the others say, think this is strategic. So it's a very interesting approach to hear some sides. And we talk about this marketing team, and happy to understand, especially as an HR expert, this is the first time that I'm here asking hiring questions from an PhD in HR in this podcast. So my question is for you, what are the top 3 qualities when hiring marketing team members besides using your SaaS? Of course, it's using your solution. This will be number 1. What are the other What are the number 2, 3, and 4 quality, like top 3 qualities that you look when you're hiring marketing persons?
As a growing startup, first of all, that person should be agile. They need to be ready to get their hands dirty, even if they are high level, to work with you, to look into the market in the eyes, not having just other people asking the questions and then come with their creative ideas. Be the one that ready to work hard. And of course, it's verified with the size of the company. But I think with a growing company until 100 employees, that's mandatory, because you do never know. And I think the third thing is, so I said working hard, so TaTiO, then working hard, critical thinker. And this is generally about employees. I hate I hate when people do everything they can to keep me satisfied. This is not the point. I always tell my employees, I have my mother and my husband to tell you I'm beautiful and smart. All the others need to question what I do. Because if you will not question what we do every day, we will not succeed. So for me, this is crucial. Asking questions, be critical, and and at the same time, the other side of this, be ready and strong enough to get feedback and to not get assaulted by feedback. Of course, if you do it right, and to be, to focus on the work, that's what's matter, to do the job and do whatever it takes to have a deep understanding of the end market.
What is the most surprising lesson that you have learned as a founder?
Now about marketing?
Whatever you want.
Surprising?
Yes, something that I think most of the audience don't think about founders or about running a startup.
So I'll tell you a few things. One is the obvious that as a first timer, I thought I do not know anything and I do not need to listen to my guts. That's wrong. I was surprised, and I can tell you what I'm doing right now, something I thought is the right thing to do 5 years ago. But I was listening to my board of advisor and did the wrong way. Then second, I will say that I was surprised I would go with hiring the right people. I thought there are specific people that work in the high-tech space in startups, and that I done it the wrong way. It will be the other way around than I did when I was working to the government or private sector. It's not. It's pretty much the same. People are people. Organizations are organization. You need people to believe in your idea and to work with you. And they could be super, super talented with, amazing experience, but not great people to work with on a startup.
So I will continue this question with what's a common misconception about running a startup you would like to debunk?
If people still think that is 100% fun and drinks all day, it's not. You know what? I will tell you that. I want to tell you a misconception about women founders.
I love it.
I think the misconceptions about women founders is that I get a lot of help. People try to help me or to advise me from day one. At the beginning, I thought it's great. People want to help, but and now I understand that people think that women in startups need more help than men. So I want to say no. We don't need more help. We need to do what we need to do and to succeed. That's it, I think.
I will say something on a personal level that this interview came after I published post and I publish in some groups about, for me personally, it's tougher to interview women than men. What I will go with what you said is that in the past week, I had a conversation with, I think, over 50 amazing women across entrepreneurs, marketing advisors, consultants, investors. I will say that the majority of them, I had to say them that participating in this podcast is not a good fit for them because they're not aligned with the type of the guest here. And I so emphasize with what you're saying, you want to succeed because of you, not because of, hey, I'm a women, give me discount and I'm cheering for this. And I will say that I will use this platform to also say that women are founders, normally of companies that doing marketing, round A, B, and up. I would love to talk with you and to invite you to these platforms. And I think as a father to two daughters, this is something that's really important for me personally. So I will go with the last question that I like to end every episode.
Okay.
Which question did I need to ask, but I didn't?
You can ask me if I'm satisfied with my current marketing.
Are you satisfied with your current marketing?
I'm asked. I told that to you because I want to tell you that we did some layoff through the last situation in the country, the recent situation in the country, and one of the things that I needed to lay off is my marketing team. And I thought this is I will deal with that. They left some materials for me, but I can tell you that one of the things that I'm missing is my marketing team, and I feel the absence of it every day. So I'm not pleased with our current marketing, and I really feel that more than ever, I feel like that the marketing team is crucial when you grow up when you grow a company. So I think that might be a good closing for this. You need marketing, guys. This is not a nice to have.
As a marketer, I will say you are right. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I really enjoy this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.